I'm going to talk about neural rendering and what has happened in the last N years. And by N, it's probably the last 2 or 3 years, because this is a relatively new area. But in this last like 2 or 3 years, there have been a lot of things actually being researched. So a lot of progress has been made and a lot of cool things have been made possible. So let me talk to you very briefly about who I am and where I'm from. So I'm a professor at TU Munich. And in my group, we basically have two kind of research directions. And one research direction is we're trying to do 3D reconstructions of the real world. And the idea there is we want to use sensors like the Kinect, depth sensors, or multi-view data in order to do 3D reconstructions, getting 3D models from real world environments. And one of the core ideas here is we want to understand the 3D environments in 3D. We don't just want to run a neural network in a 2D image, but instead we want to get a spatial understanding, not only knowing what's in the environment, but also where is it in the environment. And then we build up these 3D reconstructions, these 3D maps. We're running 3D convolutions and 3D neural networks on top of it. And we developed a couple of methods right now that make these kind of things very efficient. And we're going to get very, very good understandings of the environments. But this whole thing is not only about the understanding of the environments. We also want to do 3D reconstruction in order to visualize the environments later on. And this is kind of the second part. What comes in here is we want to basically take these reconstructions and then use them as kind of 3D models, put them in video games and engines. And we would love to create photorealistic re-renderings of these reconstructions. So, you can kind of virtually revisit a place. And I think actually these two directions, like the reconstruction side and then this re-rendering side, they inherently go together, because in order to do good re-rendering, you have to understand what's in the scene. You have to figure out material decompositions. You have to find out what's the underlying geometry. And only by kind of having the synergies between these two areas, you can actually truly solve both understanding and also re-rendering problems. And yeah, and one of the applications of this kind of re-rendering is this AI-driven video synthesis and editing. And the reason why I'm saying AI synthesis is, doing 3D reconstructions and then using these reconstructed models for content in game engines, movies. That's a thing the computer vision community has been actually trying for quite a while. But it's very, very difficult to get it right. And this is the thing I would like to talk about today. So I want to talk about how do we actually do AI-driven video synthesis and editing. And one term I already mentioned is neural rendering. And neural rendering is kind of this fancy buzzword that everybody's using right now. But the big question is, what is it actually, right? What does it mean? And probably if you ask a couple of researchers in our area, they will probably give you slightly different responses.